Hey, this is Divine's Oracle, and I'm coming at you with a new one. Daddy was born on April 9th, 1945, and so today is his birthday, and he's 75. Daddy was born the year civil rights began. Ebony magazine was first publicized. Jim Crow still applied, but Black pride continued pushing its way to the front of the line. On April 9th, 1947, when my daddy turned 2, Congress sent 16 men on a historical mission to reconcile the South. Despite opposition, unremarkable Blacks and whites took freedom rides addressing racial conditions. They endured the resistance. Daddy raised us with a similar moral ambition to be persistent and claim a righteous position, to make resilience our mistress and never coexist with the witless spirit. No matter the majority's insistent volition, walk and respond as a queen. Don't ever conform to the enemy's theme. In the 1950s, Cooper, Clifton, and Lloyd were the first Blacks to join the NBA. The U.S. Army desegregates. Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat. Despite anger and protests in the streets, the courts called an end to racial quarantine. Motown Records began in 1959. Black pride still inched its way to the front of the line. My daddy may have had every reason to hate, to walk around with a chip, to blame hate for his fate, because being Black in the 50s led to some precarious days. But daddy, he didn't raise us to think that way. Instead, he focused on what he could do. He taught us the value of going to school. Daddy taught us the importance of working as a team and being an encourager, no matter the extremes. Daddy taught us to respect another's time. He said being late signals disrespect. He also taught us to clean up our mess. Even when we were the invited guests, we lended a hand and we cleaned up our mess. Daddy served us breakfast in bed. I grew up thinking that all men did this. I also thought every man could cook, was a great provider, and helped their kids do homework, because my daddy did all these things for us. When mistakes were made, daddy taught us to look first at our blame. I learned making the hard calls gets you rejected, and that misused popularity is really quite reckless. Integrity isn't always liked or accepted, but it's often honored and it's always respected. Daddy taught me to value family and friends. There were hard times and lots of parties on weekends. I grew up learning hospitality and work in the room, to speak when spoken to say please and thank you. And if daddy said he'd do it, then he would come through. Daddy taught me to drive a stick shift in a time when women were still being dismissed. Daddy had all girls in a manly man's world, so he taught us to be equipped and to stand on our own. Daddy taught me not to run for a prize. He taught me to run my personal best. I didn't understand him way back then. Well, I just wanted to win, but daddy taught me to excel, to strive for my best, not to focus on winning a single contest. Daddy focused on the 5 points. When I brought home a 95 on a test, he asked, "Do you know what you missed?" Oh, daddy was proud of the grade, but he didn't want the mistakes downplayed. He didn't want a repeat of the same mistakes. Of all the lessons that my daddy taught, it's this one I repeatedly fought. And so through my heydays and future mature plays, I wound up replaying a lot of mistakes. I didn't focus on the 5 astray, and I wound up replaying countless mistakes. And I thank you, God, for parents who love me anyway. Daddy, thank you for every lesson along the way. Your lessons live on now in your grandkids today. Happy 75th birthday, Daddy. Enjoy your day.